What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I am Craig, and we are going to be going over the charts. We'll start out today after the Dow and the DXY in the smaller time frames, and then we're going to take a look at the bigger picture and what to watch for on the weekly. There's a certain level that if it breaks, this thing could go down pretty fast. But first, we're going to be looking at the smaller time frame. As you guys know, Fed Chair speaks today, Powell. We'll be keeping an eye on what's going on with that. Also, that's at 10 a.m. Hopefully this video gets released before then, but I'll give you the areas to watch in the smaller time frames and the targets. So definitely stick around for the whole video. It's going to be interesting. I'm also going to take a look at some other bubble pop patterns at the very end if you haven't seen them. So definitely stick around. But before we begin, make sure you smash those thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the video. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily updates. I apologize for yesterday's video not coming out. Price wasn't really doing anything, and I just, to be honest, really didn't feel like making a video. So anyways, let's get into the chart, see what's going on. Make sure you tick your notification bells and get you notified when I post videos. A lot of people said they're not getting notified. So, all right, looking at the Dow. So we are still within this channel here. We did pop above this and we closed the candle above 33.27. But remember what I had said, to be bullish, we need to open and close a daily above 33,271. So let's see what happens with the speech today. Maybe we'll get a pump up. It is Friday. Markets like to pump on Friday, but that is not a guarantee. I still think in the long-term big picture, everything is still bearish. But like I said, we'll be taking a look at the smaller time frames. Take a look at the DXY. So the DXY right now is sitting on the 55 EMA. I do think it's going to pop up to at least this 112. And as if you guys have been watching my videos, you know, in the bigger picture, I think DXY is going to go much, much higher. We have a target around 122. And if that breaks in the next year or so, we're going to go much, much higher. You can check out my previous videos to look at that. But as of right now, if we zoom in here, every time on this channel, we'll zoom out first. We get like an ABC up to test the next one. This does look like an ABC forming here. And if we put our fibs on here, remember guys, this is the DXY. We put our fibs on here from this high here to this low down here, back up to this high, looking at this as an A, B, and forming C. We have hit the 1-to-1 extension already, not quite the 55 EMA. But if this does go lower, it could go as low as 107.64. So let's put our first target here at the 1-to-1 extension for the ABC. Put our second target right here. If we do get a fake pump today, we may get down to this on the DXY before continuing up. But all in all, DXY still looks on track to be super bullish. Now, everybody looks at these smaller time frames like, oh, DXY is crashing. Well, if you zoom out, you'll see that happens all the time on an uptrend, right? So just something to be aware of. Let's look at where we're at now. We are getting rejected at the at the 55 EMA on the 4-hour chart as of right now. But remember, we've had this resistance at 22,100 ever since we took our measured move from this head and shoulders up here, which got us that 22.1. So remember, every time we get one of these targets, it usually becomes resistance. We also have resistance in our daily and stuff too. We'll go over that. But if this was to break up here, past this 22.1, your next resistance is going to be the 200 EMA at 22.6. And then our measured move target of the breakout of this channel is 23.90. If we break down, we come back down to these levels and break down, then our targets are going to be, depending on how long this takes, obviously the target moves up as this trend line moves up. But as of right now, if we were to break this in the next day or so, I think this will be resolved, if not today, by this weekend for Bitcoin. So watch for a break of this 22.1 or down here towards the 21.1. I know that's $1,000 range. And if you're a day trader, you could trade that range. I prefer swing trading, a lot less stressful. You don't have to look at the tiny time frames and try to figure stuff out. But so if we break this level here at around 21.1, look for 20,100 for the next bounce. But then if we zoom out here, right? So if this happens and the 20,100 breaks, then we look at Get these targets in here. We look at from the break of this trend, we draw in this flagpole, looking at it as a bear flag, and that gets us approximately 18.7-ish. And if we go from the other trend break up here, we put that down, looking at this as the flagpole, and bring it down. That gets us to approximately about 18.2, right? 18.1, somewhere in that range. Then if we look at the bigger trend break from higher up here, looking at this as a flagpole, down to the bottom, bring it in, we break, that one gets us about, and like I said, these targets move as this takes longer. This is a ascending channel, so the longer it takes, the higher these targets get. Not by much, but they get higher. But that's what I'm looking at there. If we break down, first target 20,100, that breaks 18.7, that breaks 18.1, if that breaks 17.4, and look at that. That's our old support. So like I said, nothing really happening here. Nothing has really changed. We're still within this channel. If you look here, I have this wedge drawn in here. It does seem that in the 4-hour RSI, we are testing the bottom of this wedge. Let's see where this closes. It may just continue down from here. There is a lot of room in the 4-hour RSI, as you can see. If you go back, like let's say back over here, from this high right here, this was this little peak here, which was lower than we are now. And it still managed to drop from 36,000 all the way down to 17. So be cautious, be careful. And let's take a look at the next chart. All right, so this is another 4-hour chart. This was just another way I was looking at it. As you guys know, from when we broke this channel up here, this was our target right there, 25.3, nailed it. And then what did we do? We formed a bear flag here. And if we take that back over, next target was 17.6, nailed it. Now, if we look at where we're at now, if that was to happen again, we could be seeing around $87 to $8,800 range. 87 to 92, depending. Like I said, we're going to look at the weekly. That'll give us a better picture, but this is in the smaller time frames. We also have the target around 73 here, also on this chart. Now, on the daily, remember, we had our measured move from the break of this rising channel. That was 24.3. I told you if we broke that, just like I'm telling you, if we break these other measured moves, right, that becomes resistance. It has been resistance. I told you what we might see if we don't get a straight drop down is, you know, a bounce around that 17.5, 17.4 for a little while, come down, retest it, and then come down. Now, I do believe this will only be a false bottom, possibly not until, you know, the end of the year, November, October, somewhere in there. Get a bounce up, get everyone bullish into 2023, and then come down for our final capitulation. All right, before we go into the bigger time frames, you're going to want to stick around for that, but I want to let you guys know, if you are interested in trading, check out Prime XBT. Links down below. Guys, don't put all your money in if you're just starting to learn to trade. There is a contest section in here where you can do for free. And if you can't grow $10, you're not going to be able to grow 10,000. So just remember that. Don't be risky. Don't be crazy. Figure out what you're doing before you do it. If you are into trading, you can use my promo code SAVVY50. That'll get you up to a $7,000 bonus to add to your margin. Savvy25 will give you 25% off your fees. I do have a tutorial on my YouTube page for Prime. Definitely check them out. All right, so on the weekly, this is the main thing to be watching. If we break this 20,855 range on the weekly this week, you can pretty much start to look for the next big target. Now, that we're going to bounce around if that breaks, right? But the target of that move would be around 14.5 to 14.6 range. And let me show you, here's those breaks we looked at in the smaller time frame. Once we broke this trend, we came down to our target. And then once we broke this trend here, we came down to our next target. And if we break here, the big move will be around that $8,400 range. But of course, first target being that 14.5, which is just the measured move of this rising broadening wedge, right? So if we don't break, if we do get one more big pump, if we're looking at this as a rising broadening wedge, that could get us as high as the 28. But again, just keep an eye on this 20,008. So if you're trading on the weekly, you're looking for a break of 20,855. If you don't think that's going to break, you can long it up to back in these ranges. But remember what we looked at in the smaller time frames. Now, talking about bubble pops. This is the .com bubble. This is Amazon in the .com bubble. We are still, and I heard BitBoy say something like, they're in different time frames. These are both weekly time frames. They're both playing out beautifully. I made these charts on December 2nd, the same time I made a video. You can go check it out on my YouTube page before anybody was talking about this, that I warned everyone to watch for this, and it is still playing out. This is not invalidated. If it does get invalidated, I will let you know. But so far, this is playing out beautifully. And like I said, when bubbles pop, you have a false bottom before a rally up to get everyone bullish again. And I've showed you on the RSI. Once this breaks right here on the RSI, that'll be our false bottom. If it plays out the exact same, which it doesn't have to play out the exact same, but bubble pop patterns usually play out pretty damn close. So we got the fake rally only to break this low here. And then what happened after this low broke? Most everyone probably sold here, but it did not moonshot straight up in a couple years. It took a long time, and we'll take a look at that next chart before we look at the other bubble pops. So right here, if that was to happen, we may be between that 7,000 and 8,000, get a bounce. Now, once we get down to that range, might be a good place to put a long in just for the fake rally. We will be keeping up on that in this channel, because that still could be, I think this was like 100%, right? But from down here, it's nothing when you look at the top, but still, it's a great trade. And then obviously come back down and dump. We could get to the 12 to 16,000 range after that in 2023, and then back down to our target of around 3,700. I still think that's a very good possibility. We've been keeping an eye on this structure. If it starts to change, we'll keep an eye on that also. So here it is in the monthly. So I zoom this out to the monthly so I can fit this all in. But that 2 to 3 years is usually the bottom after a bubble pop, right? And it did not moonshot up. It took 10 years to break this all-time high. So be aware of that. And here is Nintendo. It's been 15 years, still hasn't broke its all-time high after 15 years after the bubble pop. And you can see you had the false bottom and a pop up only to make a lower low towards the end of it, just like I believe Bitcoin will do here. Here is the Sony bubble pop. It's been over 20 years and it still hasn't reached its all-time high. As you can see, it had a bigger little ending rally right here, but nevertheless, it still came down to make lower lows, right? And we could also move this in, say this is 4 over here, 5, and then our, and then our low over here. But either way, you got that fake rally at the end to get everybody bullish and only to make a lower low. That, my friends, is how bubbles pop. This is a pretty, I think they need to name this the bubble pop pattern. Hashtag that. I'll hashtag it on Twitter. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, definitely give me a follow. It's at CryptoSavvy1. The link is down below in the description of the video too for my Twitter. There's a lot of fake Crypto Savvy Twitters out there, so be careful on that. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to show you the similarities in these bubble pop patterns, guys. So I think that's about it. Thanks again for watching. Again, I apologize for not making a video yesterday. Nothing really happened. Today is the day to be paying attention. Like I said, I think we will resolve that channel. If not today, sometime this weekend, whether it be up or down. I gave you the targets. Have fun. Be safe. I'll see you in the next video.